Hi, my name is Sheila Hill. I'm an intuitive life coach, a quantum healer, and a spiritual guide. I'm a light worker, starseed, twin flame, if any or all of those labels mean anything to you. Anyway, I'm here with you today to talk a little bit about spirit guides, who they are, and what their purpose really is. So let's start by getting on the same page. First and foremost, we all need to understand, well, it's kind of hard to understand. Let's just assume that we're all on the same page, that linear time does not exist. That all of your lifetimes, past, present, and future, are all happening right now. I know that's a little bit of a concept that's hard to understand. I've been working through it myself for quite some time now. But as you start to learn, things begin to layer and ahas begin to happen and connecting the dots, eventually we'll get to a place where we completely understand and understand what that actually means. So let's start there. All of your lifetimes are all happening at the same time. The other piece that I want to talk a little bit about is who your guides are not. So many people like to think it's comforting, and I understand that. It's comforting for them to believe that their spirit guides are the grandmother they were very close to, the father they lost at a young age, perhaps a friend, a child, a pet even. That is truth and it's not truth. So these light beings, our deceased loved ones, do come in and out of our field depending on what we're going through in life. They come in with messages, they come in with love and guidance and support, but they aren't technically a part of our actual spirit guide team, not the official team. So many pieces of our spirit guide team, many of those components or those entities or beings are with us from our actual soul's inception. So when our soul first started, we were assigned certain guides, and then those guides may change and shift again depending on what we're going through in our lives. But it all sort of depends on what you're going through, what timeline you're in, what consciousness you're playing within. Some of the guides, you'll have maybe one or two that stay with you throughout your entire life's journey, and then other ones that just kind of come and go depending on what you're going through. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about how I came to this understanding and then how it sort of became my truth. And we're going to carry on in this video that I hope won't be much more than 25 minutes at the most. So about 2.5 years ago, I met with one of my guides who I call the Blue Lady when I talk about her. Her name was Selena, which I found out just by asking, and that's sort of another little piece that I can teach in this video is when you're connecting with different light beings that you are assuming they are your guides, whether you are able to see them or feel them or sense them or converse with them telepathically, just ask them what you can call them. Many of them don't have human names like we do. So whatever, if you ask them for a name and they give you something that sounds like Selena or John or Joe, then just go with that. That's fine. And whenever you call out that name, again, telepathically or journaling or through meditation, when you ask to connect with that being, when you call them by that name, they will come. Whether that's actually their name or not, it doesn't matter. So I had this Blue Lady. In my own intuitive knowing, in my experience of her in that time, and I was in meditation, I knew that she was a Palladian goddess, high priestess, something like that from the Pleiades, which is where I most recently resonated from, I am Palladian. So I met with her. She has shown up on a number of different really pivotal points in my soul's journey, in my expansion of consciousness, in the opening up of my gifts. She's been there, not as a regular all the time, and that might be me, not a function of me, not her, but I know that she's been there through some very pinnacle points. So in the fall of last year, 2018, I underwent a process called BHQ, Beyond Quantum Healing. And what this looks like is you create some questions for yourself, for the practitioner. They put you into a meditative / hypnotic state, and then you channel your own higher self, your own guides, your own intergalactic family. You channel those questions back through yourself, and the whole thing is recorded and witnessed by the practitioner. And if the list of questions you provided means that the conversation has to go in a different direction based on what you're channeling, then they're able to facilitate that. So I met with my Blue Lady friend, Selena, in this Beyond Quantum Healing session that I had, and found out that in actuality, she is me. She is a future version of myself from another galaxy, another timeline, another frequency, but that she is actually me. She's one of my guides, but she's me. I had another Beyond Quantum Healing session a few weeks, month or so later, and was able to surrender even deeper into the process because I had had one before and I kind of knew what to expect. And in that session, I was able to connect with an Arcturian guide that I have, and I was able to connect with the Melchizedek consciousness, which is a 15th dimensional consciousness. A lot of these higher vibrational frequencies are no longer beings in any kind of human form that our filter is able to create, but they are just like an energetic soup, much like Source is. So I was able to connect with this Melchizedek consciousness and was told at that time that I was also a part of that consciousness, the creation of it, and future, that was me. So there's me, and then there's a million other aspects of me, and then there's the Blue Lady Selena, who is me in the Pleiades, and this Arcturian guide, who is also me, but is Arcturian, whereas I currently really resonate with the Palladian energy right now, and then the Melchizedek consciousness in the 15th dimension. So, that being the case, I was like, wow, does that mean that our spirit guides, or a good component of our team, is actually us from future timelines? That we have a number of higher selves, and that our spirit guide team is made up of the future versions of ourselves from a higher dimension, from a more expanded consciousness and higher timeline. Isn't that cool? So I played with that concept in my mind, and then, thank you, universe, a couple of the people that I follow on YouTube also did YouTubes around or in that time frame in the last few months, where they also talked about the fact that our spirit guides, are most often higher versions of ourselves. So then I began to wonder, it can't only work in one direction, where our higher versions of ourselves are helping to guide and help and encourage and support this human's journey. Because if all of our lifetimes, past, present, and future, are all happening at the same time in an infinite number of timelines, then would it not also be true that we ourselves, me, the Sheila you see, and you that's watching this YouTube video, could also be the higher self aspect to another timeline of yours in your multidimensional existence? And then your brain goes, so this is so exciting. So then I was pondering that, well, what would that look like? And who out of all the versions of me has the higher consciousness? And if I'm helping them, but I'm not all knowing, and like all of that in all these timelines, and is it me? Is it what I perceive to be a past life expression of me? The bottom line is that all of the expressions of you come from your soul's template. It is of itself an energetic soup within a macro soup, a micro universe within a macro universe. So I listened to someone yesterday, who I follow on YouTube as well, that touched on this subject. This wasn't what the video was about, but they touched on this subject just enough to allow me to cognize some of these really expanded ideas and connect some dots that allowed me to be able to do this video for you and bring you this multidimensional experience, this perspective from a high level and the other level of possibilities that are also true. So as we do our work, let's just say, for argument's sake, that you that's watching the video and myself, Sheila, the avatar of Sheila that is part of a soul's template that is massive beyond my understanding at this point, as I do my work, my personal work, my spiritual work, as I expand in my consciousness, as I heal certain templates, as I clear certain karma, as I am able to expand and raise my vibrational frequency, I'm also creating an uplift to any of the other aspects of me in any other timelines that may be at a lower, more dense frequency. Now, no judgment. And you know that when we talk about higher and lower, it's not about that from the 3D perspective of being better than or less than. It just means that as we do our work, we are uplifting the entire soul template, not just your own fractal of your soul that's having an experience in this timeline. So we receive guidance from our spirit guides, the higher beings, who we now, for the purpose of this video, will understand are actually the higher aspects of ourselves, through our intuition, depending on what gifts you have. It could be other ways. Some could be clairvoyant, clairaudient, lots of other ways. Let's just say through your intuition. You receive guidance of read this book, work with this healer, don't eat that food, leave this relationship, leave this job, all of the different things that keep us in alignment with our soul's purpose. Because they're all knowing. They know what it is that we are supposed to be doing, why we're here, and what's the best way to get us there. So by all means, surrender to your guides. So if they get to us, like they don't pick up a big red phone and call us and say, Sheila, you're out of alignment, turn left. Although I wish, I've prayed for the red phone a number of times. If they get to us through our intuition, then that would also mean that in this energetic soup of my soul's template, that when I heal, shift, clear, and raise my frequency, that those inner knowings, lessons, healings, the vibrational frequency of those activities, that work, that healing, would also become an intuitive hit, a download, or an expression that would show up in the other aspects of me in other timelines, i.e. in my past lives. Now, I wouldn't be my only guide to myself, although to some extent maybe I am, but there would be other higher beings that would be working with all the aspects of me on other timelines. And when I talk about that, I mean like there's other aspects of me in this timeline, but then there's other aspects of me that are also in past lives where I could be a man, a child, all of those possibilities are also true. So just understanding that we are receiving guidance from our higher selves, depending on where your expanded frequency is, you come up to a frequency where you're able to tune into those higher dimensions. But you are also not only clearing and healing and expanding and growing and raising the vibrational frequency of yourself in this timeline, in this existence, but you are also doing it for all of your other timelines as well. And for your ancestors, because of the ascension process. And that might be a whole other video. So, are you beginning to understand how incredibly powerful you are? I hope so. Let's just take another moment to talk a little bit about what your spirit guide's purpose is. Why we even have spirit guides and what that's all about. Our spirit guides know what our soul contract is, what our mission is, what our soul's purpose is, what's still in our Akashic records that needs to be cleared, healed, and released. where we have patterning from an ancestral standpoint or patterning within our own soul's template that needs to be broken and healed and released, they know. And they guide us to stay the course in the best possible way within our own free will, to get to those various goals and achievements on our life's plan. Their purpose is not ever to interfere, intervene, heal it for us, fix it, or rescue us in any way. Now, I know, and I've been there, where I've just been like on the floor crying, saying, God, please take me now. I've had enough. Please just fix this for me. I can't do this anymore. This 3D experience is too hard. You know, victim, waha, you know, the whole bit. I've done it. So I know that some of you have done it too. The purpose of our guides is only ever to help guide us through even the nastiest stuff that we signed up for. You know, if you have something within your Akash that means that you have to have divorce or grief or a health crisis, it doesn't mean that that's supposed to define your experience. It means that you're supposed to surrender to it and then allow your guides to guide you through it in the best possible way. They're meant to help us get through it, not to help us avoid the potholes of life or to not have the experiences that might be perceived by our ego as an inconvenience or something icky or traumatic or something that you don't want to do. Their purpose is to guide us. And they do that through our intuition. Now, you can't receive guidance through your intuition if you're having a freak out on the floor, saying, God, please take me now, which I've done. They can only best get to us so that we can actually see, hear, feel, and be intuitively guided to the right resources, healers, books, diets, walks, whatever it is that they deem would be the next possible best thing for you to do in the next step, if we're in a place of calm and surrender. So work on creating a relationship with your other selves. Work on creating a relationship with those that you call your spirit team or your spirit guides, and work on surrendering so that they can support you in the way that they are trying so hard to. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please click subscribe or and click on the little bell so that you'll find out when I've posted other videos. I have lots of other content here, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.